Well, cool, man. Yeah, I love that. And so you mentioned at one point you were doing 6 open houses a week. I know open houses have been a big part of your journey.
Yes.
What is this little secret for real estate agents and people trying to grow that business that's been so fruitful for you?
So it's a couple of things. One, for me now, it's not about sitting in an open house for 6 hours a day so I can get clients so I can pay my bills. That's how I started. Now it's about branding and presence. So whenever I do an open house and it's a luxury home, now my target is 4 million plus. If I'm in an open house and I'm going to sit there for 3 to 4 hours is probably like my limit. It's about the highest and best use of my time. If I went and knocked on 20 doors, I would be more efficient. That would be more beneficial than sitting in an open house. So I'd rather have a buyer's agent sit in an open house and then I help them close.
Welcome to the DB podcast, where we talk to inspiring people from all walks of life. On today's episode, we have Sam Coleman. He's a luxury real estate agent from Las Vegas, Nevada. We're going to talk about how he creates really high quality content. We're going to talk about how he sells homes for millions of dollars and a lot of other cool stuff. So let's go ahead and dive in. Why are so many Californians still coming to Vegas?
So a lot of reasons, other than the obvious that the quality of life of Orange County or SoCal can be had here in Las Vegas.
The beaches in Vegas are just amazing.
Not exactly, but the quality of life outside of the beach and being able to see the water and not having to pay the air tax, you can pretty much live the same way. Like, how many times have you driven through Summerlin or any master plan community and seen somebody walking their dog? You know, we got paper straws. You know, we got the water's getting better. The bottled water is getting better. So California is slowly becoming Las Vegas, and you see Teslas everywhere. So it's pretty much, and I wear Lululemon. So it's like, this is the thing now. You go from California to Vegas.
Is it still happening right now? Because I know during like COVID, there was like, felt like the mass exodus.
Mm-hmm.
Are you still seeing that? Like your clients are
90% of my clients are from California.
No way.
Without a doubt. If I had to do an exact metric of who I'm working with right now, like right now, I have this week where I just had this $17,885,000 of business that I'm working with this week are pretty much 2 locals, and the rest are from California. So that would be 80%.
You just got billboards on the freeway coming from California. You're like, don't stop, just call me and I'll get your home.
No, but that's actually a really good idea. However, one couple, they found me through YouTube. Another couple found me through Instagram, and then 2 of the other couples were referrals. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, cool. Yeah, it's interesting. And I know that, the tax benefits here, I have some friends that moved here literally in their first year. They got like a $2 million home paid for because of the taxes.
Yes. The first time I've ever seen that happen was one of my clients, what he was saving in taxes from his accountant. He said, what you'll save in taxes, if you could spend this amount of money on your home in Las Vegas and sell your home, and you would essentially be being paid to move to Las Vegas because you can run your company from Vegas. And they bought a $1.7 million home cash because of that very reason.
So if they're still coming here, it's obviously not because of COVID. So like, what's the reason? What are they like coming here for?
In all seriousness, I think it's a lot of people are fed up with what is happening politically with California. A lot of the clients that I work with have said that beyond the politics, it's the cleanliness, where the city is going. If you're in LA, they're tired of the traffic. The opportunity to grow in California is also being limited. Where it once was a place where you go to California and dreams come true, a lot of people aren't seeing that that's the case now. Maybe it's our generation and what's happening in the economy that people are losing hope in that. I'm not too sure. It's not my experiences. This is just what our clients have said over the last couple years, what they've been experiencing.
Interesting. So when people are coming here from out of state, what part of town are they looking to live in? And obviously for people that don't live in Vegas, maybe you could just explain like why that area too.
Yes. People tend to gravitate to one place or the other. The 2 main hitters is going to be Henderson or it's going to be Summerlin. And
Northtown?
Not exactly. Not exactly. There is a very small portion of people that do like to go to Northwest because of the value. people that come from, let's say, California or Washington, and they're used to being in traffic, they don't mind driving 20 minutes or 25 minutes to go from one side of town to the other, and going to Sky Canyon or Providence and saying, I'm going to buy a home for $600,000 and I can get a 3,000 square foot home for $600,000. I will take that all day long. Like, I can go rent an apartment in California and buy a house in Vegas and get flights weekly back and forth and still save more money. But people going to Henderson, they like being close to the Strip. People like being close to the airport. And now that the luxury market and the affordability in Summerlin has started to change a little bit, people like being in Summerlin. We're starting to see a lot more people want to be in Summerlin South compared to Summerlin West because of the close proximity. You can be in downtown Summerlin. It's just 2 exits away. So if you're in Summerlin South, you're 3.1 miles away from downtown Summerlin. It's a 7-minute drive. And you can be at the airport in 17 minutes, right? You're 11 miles away. You can be there in 17 minutes. You can be at the Strip, the close proximity to restaurants and shopping and things like that. People want to be in the thick of it where they feel like they're in a major city without having to live on the Strip and be in a high rise.
I love Vegas. And I used to live out like in Summerlin, and I live in Henderson. I live here in Seven Hills. But the reality is like there's no traffic except for a couple hours in the day. But like outside of that, almost no traffic, dude. You can go from one side of town to literally the far other side in a half hour. No state income tax, relatively low cost of living, and it's just generally a pretty nice weather, good place to be at.
Yeah, I don't mind. Honestly, I do not mind the heat. I enjoy the summer mostly because you get to see the sun every day. This has been an anomaly of a winter, the longest winter ever. I feel like Jon Snow is somewhere here in Las Vegas because we are seeing the temperatures are wicked. But most of the time at this point, I think me and my wife, we got a Facebook memory about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I was in shorts running around the park with my daughter and our dog this same time, a year ago or a year and a half ago, whatever. So now to see it raining and California's being flooded and all this stuff, there's something different going on in our world today.
Let's be real though. It's like it's like half a day of rain and then we complain about it.
That's still too much. That's too much.
But yeah, you're right. I was feeling it. I'm like there was like 2 weeks ago where the weather got kind of nice. And it was like, okay, like, is it nice now? And then it got cold again. But typically this time of year, it's like 65 and perfect.
Well, yesterday I was out showing homes and it started hailing. And then this morning it's 68 degrees. Like, what is really happening there? How do you prepare for that? Like, I left my house yesterday. I pretty much wear a suit. I grab a white T-shirt every day and a pair of white sneakers. Like, it's the simplest thing to dress in Vegas, and I feel like I can be prepared for anything. I grabbed that suit thinking that, it's going to be a nice day today. When I got in the car, it was a little chilly. Turned the heat warmers on my seat. About mid-morning, I'm like, it's getting a little warm. So I turned the AC on. By the afternoon, it was freezing, raining, and then by the time I was finished my day before I was going to get my kids, it was hailing. Like, this is not Las Vegas. I did not move from Baltimore to Vegas to be in a blizzard.
What do you think is happening? Do you have any idea?
Global warming. It's
warming?
the Illuminati. Somebody. I don't know.
It could be. I mean, dude, I think I heard this thing called it's like a 4-letter acronym. It's some machine they use in the military where they could like make it rain.
Really?
Yeah. Like at the strip club, you just throw a dollar. No, not that kind of. No, no, but literally, it's called HAARP. HAARP apparently, and it was like a system they created to be able to control the weather, and I think it's documented and stuff. So
wow.
Yeah. So can you guys, government people, Illuminati, just make it sunny for a little while?
Yeah, make it rain everywhere else so that it's only sunny in Vegas, so that when people come to Vegas, they're tired of the rain other places, and then they all have to buy a home, and then you call 702-883-7845, and I'll answer and sell your house where it's sunny.
But make sure you have a good budget, because this guy is in the luxury space.
I mean, luxury is relative. Now, that is a huge misconception. Most people think that luxury has to do with a price point. First of all, first, Sam Coleman, we service people, not price points. Secondly, luxury, would you agree that you can have a luxury townhome?
Yeah, there's some nice townhomes that are luxury.
So you could have a townhome in Summerlin for $599,000 right now, 1,587 square feet in a community called Vista Dolce. Not my listing, but you can find it on Zillow. I just remember it checking the inventory. You could take a home with the same materials of a $20,900,000 home in the Summit that's available right now. It's the most expensive home available. You can take the same materials and put inside of that $600,000 home. It wouldn't make sense, but in theory, you could do that. Now, would that be a luxury townhome at a different price point? But it's not the $20 million home. So I believe, this is just my opinion, luxury is defined by the quality of living, not necessarily by a price point. So
do you think that if a new agent was trying to get into the real estate space, that they should focus on luxury, regular, or is there like a particular industry or niche that would be best?
I think most people gravitate toward where they feel most comfortable. When you think about price points and how you structure your business, that's just a business model. I would rather, if you ask me right now, I don't love being a real estate agent. It actually sucks. You're a slave to the business, and most people, whether it's intentional or unintentional, most people don't respect your life outside of real estate. So while that's my experience, my personal experience with being a real estate agent, my business model has to be efficient and most cost effective because my family means more to me than my real estate business. My real estate business takes care of my family. So it's a bit of a conundrum. I have to choose a lot of times whether do I take this phone call and give my wife the Heisman while we're on a date, or do I put my phone on Do Not Disturb and I miss out on the business because I'm with my wife. Right. So if I look at my approach to business and I had to go back and start all over again, I would 100% lean into luxury, because rather than do $100 million in business by selling $1 million homes, I don't want to sell 100 homes at average price point of $1 million. Yeah, that's $30,000 per check. Great. That's awesome. However, that's 100 people that now I'm responsible for their lives. That's the price that I have to pay. Then on top of that, the time and energy and resources that has to go into doing $100 million in business, rather than what if I just found one home for $100 million? Like, that would be great too. So it all depends on what someone wants to accomplish. There's a market for everybody. Like my mentor, Aaron Taylor, he's the master of marketing, and his philosophy is like, hey, I don't care if it's $1 million home or a $100,000 mobile home. Those are my people. And I'm going to sell a home, and my target, my average price point is $400,000, and he's going to do that all day long, right? Whereas me, I'm like, at $400,000, I'm going to 150% sell that home. I'm just not going to market to sell $400,000 homes. I'm going to market to sell the most expensive homes, but my day to day, I will 100% sell a $400,000 home without a doubt, right? But I'm not going to market to $400,000 home buyers and sellers. I'm going to market to $1 million plus, because that's the best business model. But that has nothing to do with my character, who I am as a person, because I treat the same person that's buying a $200,000 home the same way that I treat the people that buy the $20 million home, right?
Yeah, it makes sense. So you're also giving a luxury experience to the people you work with.
Correct. It's one of those things where when you look at the real estate transaction, most people will sell 2 to 3 homes in a lifetime, right? Buy and sell 2 to 3 homes in a lifetime. Where we're doing this more frequently, and our knowledge and our ability to be knowledge brokers with experience to help guide people through a transaction, it should be, you want to purchase a home, so your only duty is to like the home or not. Everything else that has to come along with the transaction, let us take that off your plate. That's why we have so many systems and processes that go on behind the scene, where the buyer or seller, they don't even have to worry about it. You get an update. Here's your bag of money at the end of the transaction within the average days on market, which I told you that would happen when you listen to me. You're looking for a home. You said you want to be in this area. This is your budget. Here are the homes that you have to deal with. Here are some that aren't even available on the market yet. You walk inside of the home, you either love it or you don't. Here's why you should buy in this community, not that community. Here's the value that you could see being inside the home versus outside of the home. That's why people hire us, not to tell them what they necessarily should or shouldn't do. Like, oh, I think you should buy this house because this one has white cabinets or versus gray cabinet. That's none of my business, right? You have to pay that mortgage. You have to live in that home. You should sell your home for this amount based on this is what the market is saying. So when people hire us, they should have the confidence in their agent that they're going to get the job done, whether it's buying or selling.
It makes sense. So then what are you seeing happening right now? Because we had a crazy spike. I feel like every single real estate agent went from driving a Camry to a Rolls Royce almost like in a period of year and a half. Like what's going on right now? What are you seeing?
I love that old saying that it's when the tide rolls back that you see who's swimming naked. Right now, it's a lot of people running in their skivvies. You have a conversation with 10 real estate agents, all 10 of them will give you a different experience. I just had this conversation. I was standing in a coffee shop the other day, and I was just like, it's one of those things where you hear a trigger word or someone says house or real estate and you're not even paying attention and you automatically catch it. So I'm listening to this couple sit at the table, and they were in the business, and they were talking about real estate, and they were talking about how hard it is, how they're struggling, and it's not good. And in my mind, I'm like, that's a lie. And if this is a client or a friend, you're doing them a disservice because that's not the truth. That's just your experience. Your experience in this market is that the market is bad and that you're struggling. You're just not working. It's not as easy as it was in 2020 where you could just say, I'm in real estate, post a TikTok, dance, and then you would get a call. Like now you have to go to work. So the people that work, I'm not struggling. Yes, it's taking longer for a home to sell. I'm not negating that. Yes, it does take more homes to show a client before they pull the trigger because money's more expensive, so they want to make sure that they make the right decision. That's not false at all. However, the amount of business that's available this week, 17 million, it's available right now. It's my 17 million, but why is it mine? There's people that are going to transact in the next 30, 60, 90 days. It's just a matter of if you're going to be a part of it or not. Like, people still will need a place to live, as far as I know. Transactions are still going to happen. It's either are we going to be a part of them or not, right? So my objective is how many transactions can I be a part of? And that has to do with how many people am I going to communicate with and provide value and a level of service where they feel like Sam is the guy that I have to use because I know Sam has my best interest and he's not looking at me like a commission check and he does more than 2 transactions in a 12-month period. So I feel confident with using Sam.
Dude, I love it. You are someone who is really like, dude, you step into a room. I was saying this before we jumped on. Like, dude, you got the presence. You're super optimistic, dude. Every time someone sees you, you can't help but just feel good.
Yeah,
like you are that guy.
Man, I appreciate that.
Yeah, seriously though. And I would imagine being a customer or client and working with you, I would feel the same way. So it's cool, man. Good
man,
stuff.
That's dope. I appreciate that.
Good. So you mentioned TikTok dances.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
One thing that's really is impressive about you, and dude, I'm like, this guy does not get enough credit. Your content is so high quality. It has been for like years now.
Thank you. I feel like I'm shadow banned because not enough people know about me.
That's literally what's going to be my question. Yeah. It's like, dude, you've been pumping out high quality content for at least a couple years now, doing stuff. You're challenging the norms. You're doing stuff other people aren't doing. Heck, people that blow up, you were doing what they were doing before they were doing it.
Yep, 100%.
Dude, why the heck has your stuff not popped off yet?
I believe God has a specific plan for my life, and this is like, this is not the politically correct answer. And this is something I had to come to terms with. I genuinely believe that the path that I've taken throughout my life has led me to the specific place that I'm at now. And it's not a matter of if, but when. My time just hasn't come yet. And I think Alex Hormozi or Patrick Bet-David, somebody said this, but they said, if you just go the right direction long enough, you'll get there. And I'm like, I'm just going to keep doing the very basics at a high level for a consistent amount of time. Phil Jones actually said that, great book, exactly what to say. And he has a philosophy that he says, we do the very basics at a high level consistently, and at some point I will get there. So I'm just doing exactly what I need to do consistently, and at some point, if I just keep going the right way, I'll get there. And maybe I'll find out, in hindsight, like, well, I was doing the very basics at a high level, the wrong way, But at some point, the direction will meet the place that I want to end up. At some point, I genuinely believe that, and I'm optimistic, because what's the alternative? Being pessimistic? That doesn't help me either. I still don't end up where I need to be. So I would rather choose the road of optimism and keep doing what I know works at a very high level as long as it takes, and that's the price that I'm willing to pay, whether it's now is my time or now is not my time. But there is going to come a time where it is mine, and people are going to say, "Oh, you were lucky." And I cannot wait. I already have my speech written when I'm standing in front of millions of people telling my story about how I got there. I already have it written because I know it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when, right? So That's just my 2 cents. But I can't take any credit for the content. My social media girl, she is a genius. She yes, I'm saying this stuff. She gives me a topic or a punchline. I don't pre-record anything. I don't script my content. She just said, why don't you do something about this? And it's her idea, and I just take the idea and I execute it. So, and I don't do 2 takes. Like I really don't. Like our joke is 1 take Jake. Whatever comes out is what's getting posted, and I don't review it before it goes out. So a lot of the times I've had these conversations offline like, dang, I probably shouldn't have said that. Like it just comes out, but like it's the real authentic Sam. And people that really know me offline, they will be like, yeah, Sam will say that in real life, right? So I don't know. It's just content has become fun to me, and there's no hidden agenda or purpose behind it. Like I literally don't have anything to sell now. Like I stopped, like I'm not even doing my courses. I'm not doing education because that space was so saturated. And I felt like when I decided to be a coach, my intent was to genuinely help people. And I got to a point where I was pouring into so many people that weren't taking advantage of the opportunity that I had to quantify it somehow and charge for my time, right? So that's really how it even started. Like I need to be paid for the time. But outside of that, now I'm like, I would rather people have the information for free. Like go download the course. If someone contacted me and sent me a DM, was like, hey, can I have your course for free? I would give it to them. If you would actually go do the work and do it and make something of it, like I want to be freaking standing there cheering you on while you get your award. Like it's possible. If I can do it, anybody can do this thing.
You know, what'd be cool would be don't charge people, but take their credit card. Hey, I'm gonna put it on file. If you don't take action, you got 6 months.
That would be so good.
Because you'll just, no one will take action.
Oh my gosh, that's a business model right there. I won't charge you. I'm gonna give you everything for free. If in 6 months you don't do this, you pay. That's the reverse Alex Hormozy. That's like gym launch in reverse.
But dude, I love that whole thing you were talking about, because what really that is, and if you break it down, is something that so few people have. It's called abundance mindset. Mm-hmm. Like, dude, you're like, I don't need it now. In fact, that's not my path.
No.
But I'm gonna keep doing it, and it's gonna come.
Yep.
And if you were living in a scarcity mindset, you'd be like, I got to do it now. It's got to come. Otherwise, it's not going to happen. Mm-hmm. And so super powerful. Mm-hmm. That.
I live that way, like on the cusp, where it's kind of hard not to look at another person's vehicle or look across the street at somebody else's lawn. And you're like, man, my lawn is turning brown. Why is theirs green? I want green grass. Why do I have to get the brown grass? And it's so hard in the world of social media not to look at somebody else's, life or business and be like, man, like it's happening for them. Why isn't it happening for me? It's very easy to do that. And at one point I felt myself doing that. And I started to realize, I'm like, that's not Sam, it's not your lane. That's not your lane. This is not your time. It's their time. And then there was a person that I was talking to. I might have been at lunch, and they said, he said, Sam, everybody looks. He said, my daughter looks at me and she goes, Dad, it's easy for you to say because you're doing X, Y, and Z. And you have this and this and this. And he said, well, how do you think I got here? She said, well, you're an adult and you've got this and you got that and you got this. And he was like, so do you think I just fell out of the sky here? At some point, I had to travel to this point. My path and my road, my journey that led me here, if I gave you that path without the technology that you're growing up with, the resources without me, I'm not 100% confident that you would handle it the same way that I handled it because we're two completely different people with two completely different experiences. So if someone else's grass is greener and you want their grass, you don't even know what type of farming or seeding or sod they have to even get that grass. And a lot of the times I'm like, well, my path, as hard as I think it is, I'm not starving for water. I'm not fighting for my life. I have very much first world problems. Like, I don't have $200 problems. I have $20 million problems because I can't buy the cars that I want to buy. I don't have the jets. And, it's not like my life right now, I have nothing to complain about. Nothing. Like, I have such an incredible life and such an incredible family. It's just a timing issue. I haven't arrived yet. So my journey, somebody's going to look at me at some point and say, man, it must be nice. But they're not going to see the journey and the path that it led me to the point where things look like it must be nice to be that. I just haven't gotten there yet.
Yeah, so many people, especially in today, we've got that that social media comparison where we're comparing our day to day with the photoshopped, edited, glammed up version of everyone else's life.
Yep.
The 7 days a year we see of Jimmy John over here, we compare our 365, and it makes people feel less than.
Yep. And I can 100% attest to that. Like, there are agents around the country, and in the luxury spaces, it's almost like, you can, there's not much that you can fake about being a luxury agent. Like, numbers don't lie. So when you see another successful luxury agent, it's almost a mutual respect, so to speak, because it's such a challenging business, opposed to, if, let's say, somebody's a content creator and they just, for whatever reason, they have 200,000 followers. We would assume that because they have 200,000 followers and a blue check mark, that they're a successful content creator. Like, and they can pose in front of somebody's car. They can do all this stuff. They have the link in my bio, and they're partying. Things look good. You can put on the front. But in business, you really, like, there's no way to fake it. There's no way to fake it in this luxury business. At some point, the people that are faking it, they're only tricking the people that are like them. But the people that are doing the business, there's no way to trick those people. There's no way to trick a successful agent. We know if you're doing the business or not.
That is one thing that the more I've been able to accomplish in the stuff I'm doing, the more I can look through the bullshit. Someone says something, dude, like anyone who I've been through a path of, right? So someone maybe grinding it out, whatever it is, dude, I can look and I know exactly what the fuck you're at. Like, I know how much, I can pretty much identify how much money you're making. I know what your part of town you're living in. Like, dude, I can see it through. So don't try to bullshit people that are more successful than you, because they see right through it.
Or holding on, living a life that is far extended where they should be. They're living like unfortunately, like the one mishap away from financial ruin, right? Because I've been there too. I've sat in that seat where I'm like, I'm going to fake it till I make it. And that sucks. That sucks. My very first $1 million home that I sold, I was driving a Chevy Impala that smelled like cigarettes and it had holes in the backseat. It was terrible.
But you can sell $1 million house with that.
Exactly. So the first thing I thought was like, oh man, now I have to get a nicer car. The mindset that I had was so wrong. Like, I just did it without it, right? So I worked my face off and I got to the point and I changed who I was because I thought I had to be somebody else. And I think most people spend too much time trying to look like the person that does the thing that they want to do rather than just doing the thing that they need to do. And I've been there, and I've been when there's too much month at the end of the money, right? And there are no homes in escrow, and I don't have a pipeline, but I'm still looking like I have a pipeline, and I'm really killing it. And I got beyond that. My wife was like, "Dude, what do you mean we don't have any money? Like, I can't go to my wife and be like, yeah, I just didn't sell any homes this month. Like, no, there's no room for that. I don't have time to fake it till I make it because I have children and I'm a leader of my house. And I feel like most people in this industry don't take it serious enough. It's very $1 million list-a-knee and not realistic.
Yeah, that's crazy. So we're talking about content just a little bit more here. You said you're a social media girl. She does a lot of it. What's the workflow look like? Do you sit down like once a month? Like, how do you workflow the content into your busy business life?
Gotcha. So now, at one point, it's evolved. So at one point, it was whenever I'm doing an open house, let's film content before my open house starts so I can get content in the house. We have a different variety of content because the houses changed. And at one point I was doing 6 open houses a week. So I could do an open house every single day. I could film content periodically during the week, one property tour long form on YouTube, and that can be cut up into shorts. And then we got away from that because everybody was doing the property tour shorts. And then we just started doing talking head, and then everybody started doing talking head. So that's where we were. Now it's evolved to I probably shoot about 3 hours a month. And I lied. No, 3 hours a month short form, and then about 50 minutes per session for long form. So my short form, social media, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook Reels, that's going to be literally 3 hours. I'm pumping out, like, literally changing the jacket, changing the shirt, and I'm pumping out at least 50 to 75 pieces of content per session. And it may be an hour, maybe 2 hours. It's whatever. We never really go longer than 2 hours at one time. And I really just go, and when I have a note with a bunch of topics on it, And if I get through all of them, great. If I don't, we'll pick the ones that are relevant. If something pops up where we're like, hey, let's talk about this because it's relevant to the media now, we'll talk about it. But most of the time, it's as long as it's within the realm of real estate, personal development, entrepreneurship, economics, or something like that, we'll talk about it. And then I mix in periodic things where it may be more about like my personal experience as a business owner and entrepreneur. And then long form, I pick a house. I know the house. I know the market. I know the area. I shoot an intro and I shoot the outro within 3-4 minutes, and I do that right away. Rudy, my guy, he goes to get the B-roll, and then I do the property tour. It's very efficient. So, yeah, I don't really spend much time doing it at all.
It is about, at this point, efficiency, because the quantity aspect is outshadowing quality.
Correct. And I used to have like my best, most high quality videos perform the worst. And the intent and thought process behind it was not as important as the value. So I figured at one point, how can I provide value without necessarily having to spend all the time and money on quality? At one point, I had a production manager, I had a marketing manager, I had a short form editor, I had a long form editor, I had a short form shooter, I had a long form shooter, and I had all this overhead. And I'm like, my content girl, she comes with her iPhone and a plug-in mic, and we bump out 100 shorts in an hour and a half and 2 hours. And my life doesn't change. It just gets more efficient. And now I can go be with my kids or go do the thing that actually makes the content purposeful, like actually sell houses. So,
Well, cool, man. Yeah, I love that. And so you mentioned at one point you were doing 6 open houses a week. I know open houses have been a big part of your journey.
Yes.
What is the little secret for real estate agents and people trying to grow that business that's been so fruitful for you?
So it's a couple of things. One, for me now, it's not about sitting in an open house for 6 hours a day so I can get clients so I can pay my bills. That's how I started. Now it's about branding and presence. So whenever I do an open house and it's a luxury home, now my target is 4 million plus. If I'm in an open house and I'm going to sit there for 3 to 4 hours, is probably like my limit. It's about the highest and best use of my time. If I went and knocked on 20 doors, I would be more efficient. That would be more beneficial than sitting in an open house. So I'd rather have a buyer's agent sit in an open house, and then I help them close a transaction, and I help them deal with the follow-up. I help with them build a relationship and things like that, and support them that way rather than me sitting in an open house. I clean the toilets already, right? So I'm not sitting in an open house. I'd rather be playing watching Coleman with my daughter because that's what she wants to do, or taking my wife out, or hanging out, or playing golf, right? Like I would rather do that than sit in an open house for 7 hours a day now. So, but if I had to go back and do it again, and there's an agent that wants to get in luxury real estate, it would be doing open houses because it's the lowest barrier of entry. You don't have to have any money. All you have to do is show up and have a brain. Can you study the market? Do you have any idea what's happening around the community? Do you have any intel on up and coming listings? Because that's going to be your secret weapon. Do you have any idea what buyers in that community are looking for? If you can answer all those questions and you can speak intelligently and you have a format to show and you know how to show a home, like you have a presentation style and you have a communication style, you will be far more successful just by being consistent for a longer period of time. It's not about having 20 people come to your open house. That's actually the worst thing that you can have because you end up catching none. Right, you got to choose. If I would rather have a 6-hour open house and talk to 6 people, 1 person an hour, I will out earn every single person that has a busier open house because I'm going to actually have a relationship built and I'm going to set an appointment and hear what the client is saying. That's the reason why I'm more successful than most agents. I'm not in a hurry to sell 25 homes. I'm not trying to meet 20 people and sell 20 people homes at one open house. Right, you're chasing a bunch of squirrels and you don't catch any. Who are the people that are looking to transact in the next 30, 60, 90 days? These are the people that are, if you don't have any business, they will pay your bills. And then it's the people that are 90 days or longer that you have to cultivate because most people are not walking into an open house and need a house today. They probably have somewhere to live. So if you take that approach and you say, what is it that you're trying to accomplish? Would it be helpful if I put together a certain set of homes for you that may not be on the market because you're not hiring me to find your home. You have Zillow. You sit on Zillow all night and you're finding your own home. You don't need me to find your home. but it may be helpful for me to put together a list of homes that have certain advantages over others. Where are you traveling from? Because this would tell me a lot of information about where you're from, if you have familiarity with the area or not. Just asking better questions. I would rather spend my time asking better questions and hearing the client out and expressing empathy so that now I can understand them better. Ryan Serhant said it, people don't want to be sold to, they want to go shopping with their friends. So if I want working with a buyer, I want to hang out with the buyer. Let's go find these luxury homes together. And then I get to check them out and then force my wife to sell our house. Babe, I saw this cool house, we got to sell ours.
Right before we jumped on, you were saying something about your vision changing and like you're looking at it differently. What does that really mean?
So at one point, I thought the way to get freedom by running a real estate team was by having a big team. At one point, I had an organization of 26 people, and I really thought that this was the way. And I found that it was the source of my unhappiness. It was trying to scale, and then the ego by having an organization. And one day, I'll walk into our team meeting, and I look around, and everybody's looking at me with their notepad. They're ready to take notes, and I'm like, how did I get here? Like, I'm not having fun. I don't enjoy this. It's stressful. I don't even know what day it is because I'm just flying by the seat of my pants. Like, I don't know what's happening because everything is happening so fast, and there's no break. I'm at work all day. My phone's constantly ringing. When I get home, my phone's ringing. I'm getting yelled at by my wife. I'm getting yelled at by the kids. I'm angry at the dog. I'm just not a happy person. And I started to reverse engineer how I got there. And it was something that led me there, and it wasn't what I wanted. It was what I thought was what I was told was the way, and it was just a way, but it shouldn't have been my way. And I started to look at how would it feel? This is a great question to ask yourself and even ask clients. How would you feel if a year from now you were buying your dream home, you were not worrying about where transactions were going to come from, you had a bank account full of money, and your marriage was blissful, and you had a great relationship with your children, and you were walking your dog, and it was a sunny day outside? How would that make you feel? I can't control the weather, but the other things that I can control. How would I feel if that was my life? That would be freaking amazing because it's better than what I'm doing right now. Well, how would I make that happen? Well, here's the source of your stress. Here's what it feels like when you don't have this in your life. Here's what it feels like when you don't have it like in your life. Here's what it looks like. Here's what it feels like when this is your calendar. And I'm like, all right, I'm just going to do that. And that led me to forget having a huge team. People are inspired by Sam Coleman, not by what I tell them they should do. People are inspired by Sam Coleman by what they watch me do. The moment that I got away from doing what inspired people and I started being a leader from the front, that's when everything changed. When I became a leader from the back and I was trying to push people to do what I thought they should do, that's when I became a very ineffective leader. When I was leading from the front and I got out there and I said, hey, we are in this together, then it got very apparent, like, wait, there are no more excuses. There's no more BS. I can't hide because if he has 3 children, he's out there, he's taking his wife on dates, he's going to church, he's serving at church, he's going to the gym, he's reading a book a week, he's doing all this stuff, he's meditating, and he's selling homes at a high level. I'm 24 and I don't have any kids, and I don't have a dog, and I don't have a girlfriend, and there's nothing going on in my life. What excuses do I have, right? So I started to realize for me to change my life and get to a place where I was at peace, I had to figure out a business model that works effectively for me. So now it's not about having a big team, it's about having support. So admin staff is very important to me. Having people that support me in a way that will allow me to have the time freedom where I can buy my time back so that I can finish my day in time. Like today at 4:30, my day is done to every hour is accounted for. So when I get done with my day, I get to be with my kids. When my kids go to bed, then I get to spend time with my wife. My wife goes to bed, then I get to work, right? So it's really about finding the rhythm, and I finally found it. And at some point, it'll get off kilter, and it'll be a juggling act, and then I have to go put attention somewhere else, right? But right now, this is what's working for me now.
Mm. One thing that has always impressed me about you is your ability, your discipline. And I mean, at least last time we spoke, I mean, dude, you're incredibly disciplined. Dude, I've seen you hit in the gym like crazy early, consistently for years. What is your routine and system like from a personal development and growth perspective? And how do you stay disciplined to keep it up?
So my discipline 100% is just the years that I've put in of being a pro athlete. So playing basketball, like as a child, joining a basketball team was completely different than playing high school basketball. That was completely different than playing Division I basketball, and then way different than being a pro, right? So I got the basics of joining a team, having to work with others, and then having to stick to the four lines, and I can't step out of bounds, right? So that structure alone in any sport will teach you discipline if you stay in it long enough. Then on top of that, when you get to high school, it's about being cool. Like if you're like now, even more so, like if you're not hyped up with your Instagram and you don't have a bunch of followers, you don't have,
Nice shoes,
the nice
or
shoes
whatever.
and all that, right? So you have to do that, and you have to be good enough to perform to validate that nowadays, in my opinion, in high school sports. Then you take it to Division I basketball. Now people are betting, making millions of dollars on whether you win or lose, right? So if you're playing Division I basketball, it's not just about you. Like there's higher stakes. And then once you go from playing Division I basketball, now this is how you feed your family, and this is how you survive because nobody else is coming to save you. That's a completely different life. So that journey of basketball has taught me, it's kept me grounded. And there are still some times where I find myself training. Like I still train I still do athletic based training. I'm doing box jumps and things like that. I'm like, I'm not going to play in the league. Like I'm not doing anything. I don't even want to run really. But I know that how I feel when I train a certain way, how I feel when I do the things that I owe to the day and I owe to the week. I don't necessarily say at this point in my life where I'm at in business because I'm in an accumulation phase. I don't have to have the best physique the way that I would want to. I want it, but my priorities and my 7 equities of life, spirit, mind, body, family, social life, business, and money, I rate myself on a scale of 1 to 10. Right now, my physical life is about a 7. Right, I'm not going as hard as I can. When I'm at a 10, man, my meal prep is done. Like I'm not missing a beat. Like I know exactly what I'm doing. Like I'm pushing myself in sets. Now I'm like I got 45 minutes to do a HIIT athletic based training workout. What I get done is what I get done because I have other priorities, right? So, and the way that I eat has to be intuitive to how I feel. Like if I feel like my energy's low, I got to change my diet. If I feel like I'm crashing, I must be having too much sugar. Like I'm just intuitively eating to make sure that I'm not gaining weight. I'm not cutting, right? I'm not focused on that right now. But my discipline around the things that I owe to the day and I owe to the week, that's a lifetime long journey that I've been on. Like I owe working. I can't go a week without working out. That's blasphemy. I can't go a day without picking up the phone and call a client. That's my business. That's how I take care of my family. I can't go a day without calling my son or spending time with my kids. I'm a dad. Right, so I owe these things to my day and my week, and that's just my guardrails around how I spend my time.
Love that. I love that. I love how you have the framework and you actually rating yourself and tracking it so you can hold yourself accountable.
Yep.
Outside of just that plan and the discipline, is there anything or anyone out there that you'd credit a lot of your success to?
I would have to say I have to credit my mom. So. And my dad. So my mom and my dad, without making this a long story short, my dad left when I was 2. He came back when I was 18. Rather than resenting and dealing with, the subliminal father wounds, I decided to be the best dad ever. I don't know what to do. I don't have all the answers. I know what not to do. My mom worked 2 jobs, 27 years on one and like 29 or 30 on the other for the government. And she did the best that she could do with what she had. I know exactly what we need to do to have parental presence in our home. I know what not to do if we don't want to have parental presence. So when it comes to my success, all of my missions and drivers have to do with I don't have all the answers. I just know what not to do because my past experience and examples that I've had that did the best with what they had, they've given me some form of groundwork, whether it's, we don't know how to balance a checkbook. Well, we're going to read every single book that there is on balancing a checkbook. We didn't know how to structure our books, right? Or having a bookkeeper, an accountant. Well, we're the accountants. How do we hire an accountant? So all those things that I did not have experience with, I have to attribute that to creating the gaps in our life to now magnifying them to fill those holes. And over the last 10 years of our life, we filled so many holes that our kids will never have to experience. So long story, my family. Short story, I like to rock. That's my guy.
Dude, this has been fun, man. So I have a thing here that what we do is the last guest actually left a question for you.
Okay.
They didn't know who you were, but they just dropped a question. So I want you to read it, and then you'll leave a question for the next guest.
Dope.
So. I think it's the bottom one there on that page.
All right. Kind of hard to read. Oh, there we go. Something you haven't done. What's something you haven't done yet? You know deep down you would if you knew you couldn't fail. That is a really good question.
Who was that from?
Matt Morrow.
Matt Morrow. Vegas Matt.
Yeah, Vegas Matt. So should I now I'm going to answer the question, and then I'm going to leave one for them, for the next person.
Guest, yeah.
Okay. What's something that I would do if I knew I couldn't fail? I would have to say I would be the most prophetic, best dressed, fashion designing, motivational speaker there is on the planet. Like today, like right now, if I walked out of here and I could go design my own clothing, both male and female, I would do that and inspire people around the world. Like that's what I would do for the rest of my life. Yeah. If I just 100% knew I couldn't fail and it would be monetarily lucrative, 100%.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, dude, thanks for coming on. How can people connect with you?
On Instagram at the Sam Coleman or at Sam Coleman Luxury. You know, I literally, if you want to check out a YouTube channel, check out my YouTube channel at the Sam Coleman. I must say, now I'm having so much fun engaging with people and responding to comments and DMs myself, because I haven't in the last several years, but now I am, and I'm actually having fun. So I would say definitely connect with me there.
Cool. Dude, thanks for coming on.
Absolutely. Thank you, man. I appreciate it.